There's a lot of talk in town, right? So why are reward points important?
If you spend using credit card, you basically get like 2 to 5% default rewards back, and you can keep accumulating that rewards for maybe one holiday or one trip. I was able to go on an international trip to Bali, majorly funded by credit card points. I realized that I had more than 80,000 points sitting in my reward points. I booked my flights with reward points. I stayed in chain of hotels using my reward points.
Are there any mistakes that you made along the way? And what have you learned from it?
There is no way you can learn about credit card without making any mistakes.
Given that you have over 14 credit cards, are credit cards debt traps? Hi everyone, welcome to MoneySkills by Scripbox. I'm Karthik Anand, and joining me today is Mohan, who has turned credit cards into a financial game changer, collecting over 1 million reward points and using his credit cards to even fund some of his wedding expenses. Welcome, Mohan.
Hey.
So let's get started. How did you get into credit cards to begin with?
In my first job, I saw that people were holding credit cards. I think this was in my 22, 23-year-old one. I happened to know that credit cards help you buy now and pay later.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was curious to apply for it, and then I tried to apply when I was 23. The bank website said that you have to be at least be 24 to apply for it. Then I said, okay, maybe I should. As soon as I turned 24, I should. So the minute that I turned 24, on the same day of
your birthday,
on my birthday, the first thing that I did was applying for the credit card and waiting for it to be approved.
Okay. So when you spend money using your credit cards, I'm assuming you want reward points, and there's a lot of talk in town, right? So why are reward points important?
Reward points are also known as alternative currencies. If you spend using credit card, you basically get like 2 to 5% default rewards back, and you can keep accumulating that rewards for maybe one holiday or one trip.
And how did you personally manage to collect over 1 million reward points?
3-4 years back, I realized that I'm gonna be married. So I had an wish of, okay, what if I can gift reward points to my wife, whom I don't know whom I'm gonna get married at that point in time, but if I can give that as a gift. And they can pick wherever in the country to go, whichever country they want to go, whichever hotel they want to stay. But in that process, I also learned that I can use my credit card even for my wedding, and then happen to accumulate that over a larger spends. This is not like an investment where you save today 100 rupees, then it will suddenly become 110 rupees later because of power of compounding. No. So reward points are basically like a bonus at that point in time. And if you are active, you spend and collect them and burn it to have an experience.
So collecting 1 million reward points is not something that you can do in a year or two. It's quite the journey. So have you had to spend lakhs of rupees during this time to accumulate those points?
So first of all, the 1 million was not collected in a year. It was journey of few years. And also, yes, I had a huge expense coming in this year. Because of that primary reason, it helped me boost the reward collection rate faster. Getting 10% to 15% return or reward back from your spend is doable, but not in all the categories. So if you think that your spend is going to be in a certain categories which is going to give you 10%, then I chose to use credit cards to collect the reward points. Then instead of going to 4 different places to shop, can I go to one particular brand which can get me all these things in one roof, and then try to spend everything in under one roof by optimizing the spend. For example, my parents have a medication throughout their life. There are certain portals, for example, HDFC and PharmEasy has a tie-up right now, wherein if you spend 100 rupees, you'll basically, base reward is 3 rupees, but with 10x rewards, you're basically getting 30% back. Expense for my medicine is going to be always the same. Whether I go and get it in my next door medical shop or when I purchase it online. So I just moved shopping from offline to online, and specifically a portal which gives me more reward points. So I didn't change my lifestyle. I just found the right platforms or right avenues to spend that money and were able to get that.
Do you have a favorite story where credit card rewards helped you significantly?
I think this was like 2 years back. I was able to go on an international trip to Bali, majorly funded by credit card points. I realized that I had more than 80,000 points sitting in my reward points. I booked my flights with reward points. I stayed in a chain of hotels using my reward points.
Why do you use credit cards instead of debit cards?
I think the most underrated thing in the whole context of credit card is the credit and the cash flow management using credit. Let's say if you're a business owner, wherein your company is going to incur a 10 to 20 lakh spend, we will be very meticulous in writing down what we are spending, where we are spending, how much we are, when to spend, when is the last day of the invoice, just one day before the invoice we pay. So why not we consider our family equal to a cash flow management for a business? So what I was able to do was 5 years back, when I first wanted to understand my cash flow for my parents and myself, I gave credit card first year to understand where they are spending. Then the second year, I started optimizing their spends and said only on weekends you can spend. And then I gave multiple credit cards to add-on cards and brought all the expenses in one roof. So now I know for me to run a family, I know how much it's going to incur. Because now I have time plotted on my calendar, this is going to happen on so and so date. 2-3 months before itself, I usually start planning my spends. So I may sometimes not spend for a month and front load all my expenses. For example, if I have to buy medicine for one whole year, I buy all in one shot in 6 months and give it ready. So when you do a bulk purchase, there's always discount when you do a bulk purchase. So using credit to do cash flow management is a skill set for most of the businesses. Why not we use the same skill set for the same expense that is going to incur for our family, and consider family as a business? Plan your spends for your family. And all it takes is just sit down on a weekend, have a discussion with your family, get the credit card, put things in place, and somebody has to take that ownership and get this done. To do this cash flow management, the first thing to do is get your 1-year bank statement of the family members, put it in an Excel sheet, categorize the spend into which category you're spending. Then you can pick the right credit card for this. Most likely the expenses in the family is going to is repetitive.
But like you mentioned, it's been quite the journey when you started using credit cards. Are there any mistakes that you made along the way? And what have you learned from it?
Yeah, there is no way you can learn about credit card without making any mistakes. For example, 4-5 different credit cards. I happened to spend 10,000 rupees there, 5,000 rupees here in the early days. That's when I introduced budget, saying that, okay, fine. If my bank balance is 40,000 rupees, that's that month's maximum expense that I can go through. If I don't meet that, I don't usually spend the credit card on that particular month.
Mohan, I think you might be the best person to answer this question, given that you have over 14 credit cards. Are credit cards debt traps?
Credit cards has to be used like debit cards. Just because you have multiple credit cards doesn't mean that you have to use all the credit cards. Just that you have to pick the credit card at that point in time for the better maximization of points and use it. So my simple philosophy towards how to use credit cards is, let's say if you're new to the credit card ecosystem, just get whatever credit card that you can get and get started with it. Don't try to optimize for the first credit card. So up to 20,000 rupees your monthly spend, I don't think so you need to have multiple credit cards. 1 or 2 cards is more than enough. Don't even try to optimize to get the HNI credit cards or the cards with fee in it attached to it. My suggestion will always be is when you're new, get whatever credit card you can get. When you're up to 20,000 rupees salary, it's okay to get the bare minimum 2% reward rate credit card, whichever you can get it, and be happy with it. When it is 50,000 rupees per month spent, then you seriously look into 1 or 2 primary credit cards that you want to use. In this case, there is a card called Access Atlas, which you can basically get 4% air miles for every 100 rupees spent that you're making. It's easy.
You said you used a lot of credit cards to manage your wedding expenses. Could you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, I think this is more like a little bit of planning, little bit of luck, little bit of season, and a little bit of advantages that I already had. So when I say planning, it is like I know that the expense is going to be 20 to 30 lakhs. So I did find out how many cards I can get to maximize the waiver for the next year. Second one is there are certain cards which had exclusions for jewelry, certain cards exclusively available for restaurant. So sometimes just because of using credit cards, just because the companies wants you to spend more on credit cards, but if you are in control, you get extra benefits called bonuses every now and then, and that adds up to your milestone and credit card reward point collections. I had to take my family to a different state and city. So I had to do a flight transfer for like 15 people of my family, right? So I chose a credit card which gave me 10% reward back for the flight travels that I have, because there's no other option that I can travel. I had to take them on flight, but because I used the cards that which gave me better reward points for the flights, I was able to get 10% back, which eventually, whatever points that I collected, I also was able to host my friends who came for my wedding on a 4-star hotel without paying for that, just by paying with reward points. The last thing was, as I said before, I also got 2-3 debit cards just to make the credit card payments to be made.
Are there any must-have credit cards that people may not be aware of?
Yes. So, full disclaimer first. Do your own research. Don't get your credit card just for the sake of spending it. Know your spending pattern. Know where you are spending, what categories you are spending, and try to get the credit cards. The no-brainer credit cards that I would say are get an Access Atlas. Basically, you get 4% return up to 7.5 lakhs. Sometimes, including the bonus, it's higher than 4%. And if you are in metros where American Express is accepted, or most of your transactions is online, then try to get American Express for up to 6,000 rupees per month spent. Or if you want to only have one American Express, but your expense per year is 4 lakh rupees, then get only American Express Platinum Travel Card. Basically, it will give you close to 50,000-60,000 reward points and a 10,000 rupees Taj voucher every year. This would be for the basic credit card that I would say you should hold. Let's say you are a 1 lakh rupees per month kind of spending person, but you just don't like to read going through what are the terms and conditions of the credit card. Try to get HDFC Infinia credit card if you are eligible. If not, a lesser variant than that, which is Regalia Gold or others. Whether you buy jewelry, whether you pay for insurance, whether you pay for any other online or offline expenses, you'll get a base 3% reward point. So 3.3% to be specific. And if you have another 10 more minutes on a monthly basis, then basically get Amazon Pay voucher or Flipkart voucher and route all your purchases via that. So basically that will give you like close to 10% return, 10-12% return. And this is for 1 lakh and above. If you are more than, let's say, 2 lakh and above spender a month, of course, this is when portfolio of cards will help you. You may take a no-brainer card like Access Magnus for Burgundy credit card, which basically gives you a base reward up to 1.5 lakhs and accelerated rewards after 1.5 lakhs. Technically, you can make 14% reward points back every time you spend more than 2 lakh rupees or so. Unfortunately, India is in the very nascent stage of credit cards. So nowhere in the world you will find such 10% return or 15% return in a credit card as reward points. I think the ecosystem is trying to push more credit card players to come into picture. That's where we are enjoying these benefits. This is a party happening right now. It may not last longer, or it may not even happen again. As of now, this is better to be in. There are maybe once it is matured, we may not be enjoying this benefits, but still.
Can you give me examples of credit cards for specific needs to maximize your reward points?
Let's take Access Atlas. That credit card product has been made for people who travel a lot, stay in hotels, and take flights often. Basically gets 10% air miles for every 100 rupees spend that you make. There is another current credit card for tax payment, which is called HDFC Biz Black. Basically, you can get 15% back as reward points for the tax that you're going to pay for the Indian government. There is certain credit cards which offer you free ticket, buy one, get one in Book My Show. So basically, let's say if you're a movie geek or you go to hang out with friends very often, then basically you can get that credit card. And of course, there are a lot of co-branded credit cards, like Swiggy has 10% for every spend that you make on Swiggy, you get 10% back on that. And wherever your credit cards don't yield you any more than 2% return, try to see if they have a voucher. And there is a portal called Gifter. Most credit card companies have partnered with them. And you can use the credit card there and buy the gift voucher and immediately use those gift voucher to pay instead of cash.
What are you saving your points up for?
My dream bond round the world flight using reward points. You can basically take flight from India, 15 plus flights around the world, and be back in India in, let's say, 2 months or time. So without spending any money. And that's like a crazy trip that I wish I plan and get it executed with my partner.
Is there one piece of advice you would like the listeners to take away from this conversation?
Let's say spend 2 hours a month and you'll get 20,000 rupees extra income. Would you say no?
No.
Right? So technically what I'm trying to say is, if you spend this more than a lakh rupees, if you can spend just 2 hours over a weekend, try to optimize your spend. Basically, you can get close to 10-20,000 rupees back as reward points. When it accumulated over a year, it is close to a lakh rupees in reward points. Consider reward points as an income. It's not going to compound. So also make sure that you burn the reward points and live the moment, enjoy the experience, learn more from the experience rather than trying to accumulate the more reward points. So you can accumulate for an extent, but you need to also have a burn plan to convert that reward points into experiences.
Is there anything you'd like to tell the viewers?
I live by this: earn interest from yesterday's spent, burn your reward points for today's experience, and invest for tomorrow.
Thank you, Mohan, for joining us today.
Pleasure.